I am Maria Garcia de Fleury. On October 13, we celebrate the feast of St. Edward the King, famous for his generosity, piety, kindness, religiosity, and justice. He did not die as a martyr, but his life proclaimed his faith. Edward was born in Islip, Oxfordshire, around 1003. He was the son of the Saxon king Etheldred II, who held his throne by the sword, imposing heavy taxes on the people. Edward spent his childhood and youth at Ely Abbey, one of the most influential of his time. From childhood, he dedicated himself to practicing virtues contrary to the vices he saw and knew. He had a thoughtful and silent character. He was humble and surrounded himself with wise men from whom he learned much. In the year 1013, the King of Denmark took the English throne and began a succession of internal struggles in England until in 1042, when Edward assumed the throne. He was 40 years old. Edward devoted all his efforts to realizing the ideal of the Christian prince: preserve the peace, spread religion, restore the forces of the old laws, lessen the burdens of the people, and achieve prosperity of all. One of the most popular acts of his reign was the elimination of the tax for the army. The taxes that had been collected from house to house were distributed among the poor. He lived on the income from his real estates instead of collecting taxes. He listened to complaints and administered justice fairly. As king, he laid his hands on people and healed them. Due to the impositions of those around him, Edward agreed to a political marriage with Edith, daughter of Count Godwin, provided that she accepted that he had a vow of chastity assumed since his youth, which she accepted. While living in Normandy, Edward had promised to make a pilgrimage to the tomb of St. Peter in Rome if he regained his kingdom. However, leaving England during that time period would have destabilized the country. So the Pope told King Edward to build a new abbey for monks and a church. He rebuilt and expanded Westminster Abbey, which later became the pantheon of the kings and great men of England. Traditionally, his crown has been used to crown English and British monarchs at their coronations since the 13th century. St. Edward became famous for his laws. His legal code became common throughout England under the name of Laws of Edward the Confessor. He tried to live in the most complete harmony with the legislative chambers, which he divided into two: the House of Lords and the House of Commons. The 24-year reign of St. Edward is considered to this day as one of the best and happiest known to England. King Edward's reputation for curing the sick continued after his death in 1066. In 1161, he was canonized and transferred to Westminster Abbey on October 13, the date on which his feast is currently celebrated. That place became the pilgrimage center for several centuries. Saint Edward became the patron saint of England until 1415 for his just government in peace and prosperity, always seeking the good of his people because he knew that with God we always win.